Gotham Knights on consoles is stuck at 30 FPS, while PC requires some serious hardware. Gotham Knights' 30 FPS cap and lack of performance mode angers fans. When Gotham Knights arrives on consoles on October 21st, it will do so with no performance mode and it will run at only 30 FPS. Fans are upset by the recent revelation that Gotham Knights, a current gen-only title, will be locked at 30 FPS with no performance mode. As spotted by those like Wario64 on Twitter, the news was shared by Gotham Knights executive producer Fleur Flower-Marty in the game's Discord channel, and she wanted to take the time to address this question for console players. A week before Gotham Knights' release date, developer WB Games Montréal has revealed that its current gen-only console versions will be locked at 30 frames per second, and Batman fans are not happy. The upcoming co-op action game is not being developed by the same team as the highly regarded Batman Arkham trilogy, but it will still carry on the iconic character's legacy in multiple ways. For instance, Gotham Knights open world will include Arkham Asylum, which players will be able to explore. The Batman game will only run at 30 FPS on PS5 and Xbox Series X/S, where it's more expensive. Warner Bros. Montreal revealed the full recommended PC specs for Gotham Knights, and they are frightening. The graphics card alone costs as much as a PlayStation 5, and that's only to play the game on high settings at 1080p. The news comes a week after the studio confirmed that the Batman game will only run at 30 frames per second on consoles without a performance mode, despite the new Gen $70 price tag. Gotham Knights is out October 21st on PS5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC. The minimum specs were revealed earlier this year and are nothing to sniff at. You'll need at least an Intel Core i5-9600K or AMD Ryzen 5 3600 and either a GTX 1660 or Radeon RX 590 to hit the lowest settings. But it's the recommended specs added to the Steam page yesterday that have people talking. To run the game at 1080p and 60 frames per second, players will need an Intel Core i7-10700K or AMD Ryzen 5 5600X and either an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 or AMD Radeon RX 5700 XT. While the AMD equivalents are slightly cheaper, the RTX 2070 still runs over $400, despite the recent drop-off in card prices due to the crypto crash and inventory backlog. Want to push the frame rate higher or, God forbid, try to output the game in 4K? You'll probably need a gaming rig that spares little expense. I know many of you are wondering about the availability of a performance mode for Gotham Knights on consoles, Marty wrote. Due to the types of features we have in our game, like providing a fully untethered co-op experience in our highly detailed open world, it's not as straightforward as lowering the resolution and getting a higher FPS. For this reason, our game does not have a performance/quality toggle option and will run at 30 FPS on consoles. The new game is set to feature a version of Gotham that will be far larger and more layered than any previous video game interpretation of Batman's fictional city. Players will be able to control Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Hood, and Tim Drake's Robin in the fast-paced action title. The game supports up to 2 players at once, and a separate 4-player co-op mode is coming to Gotham Knights in November. However, one of the game's recently revealed limitations is stirring up frustration among players who are looking forward to the game. This news follows the announcement of Gotham Knights' Heroic Assault mode, which will be a free 4-player co-op mode that will launch on November 29, 2022. Despite there being 4 heroes, Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood, Gotham Knights campaign only supports single-player or 2-player co-op. This new mode will give 4 friends the chance to take on arena-based challenges and see how all 4 heroes can work together to take down Gotham's criminals. The recommended PC specs are especially notable this time around because Gotham Knights will only run at 30 frames per second on consoles. Executive producer Fleur Marty confirmed there won't be a performance mode in the game's Discord, unlike other recent PS5 and Xbox Series X/S games. Horizon Forbidden West and Forza Horizon 5 both allowed players to choose between 60 frames per second or a graphics mode featuring a higher resolution. Marty explained Gotham Knights' exception as partly due to some of its unique gameplay features, like untethered coupe that allows two players to explore Gotham separately. But the trade-off still caught many by surprise, not least of all because Gotham Knights recently ditched its PS4 and Xbox One versions and is part of the new wave of $70 console games. Despite the demanding PC specs, it's only $60 on Steam. The news kicked off a debate about what players should expect as a baseline for the next wave of holiday and early 2023 blockbusters. According to the Callisto Protocol, it's 60 frames per second. Striking Distance Studios took the opportunity to announce yesterday that its spiritual successor to Dead Space will still arrive on time on December 2nd and run at the higher frame rate when it does. The horror third-person shooter hasn't yet revealed its recommended PC specs, but it will be on PS4 and Xbox One as well as the new consoles. Of course, talk is cheap, and we'll see how each game actually performs once it's released. One question players might want to ask is what's required for studios to hit certain performance benchmarks in the run-up to shipping a game. Callisto Protocol director and former Sledgehammer Games co-studio head, Glenn Schofield, praised crunch culture as recently as last month. Despite later apologizing for comments valorizing overworking developers, Bloomberg reported that at least some staff at Striking Distance Studios had indeed crunched to ship the game on time.